All glories to Son of the Lord. Continue reading from Srimad Bhagavatam 5:8. I believe, yes, yeah. 5:8. Chapter titled The Activities of Maharaj Priyavrata. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 So, yeah. I'm just going to chant it. It sounds like the way to go, and then we'll go word for word, or just into the. Okay. So, tatra tatra gagana tala udupatiriva vamana valapir anupatam amara parabridar abhipujamana patipaticha varutasa siddha gandharva sadhya charanam nigunar Bhagyamano Ganda Marnadonyam Avabasayan Upasasarpa Sa He Lord Brahma Tatra Tatra Here and there Gaganatale Under the canopy of the sky Udupati the moon Eva, like Vimana Avalabi, and there are different airplanes. Anupatam, along the path. Amara, of the demigods. Parivardai, by the leaders. Pujyamana, being worshipped. Pati pati, in the way, on the way, one after another. Cha, also. Arutasi, dasa, in groups. Siddha, by the residents of Siddhaloka. Gandharva, by the residents of Gandharva Loka. Sadhya, by the residents of Sadhya Loka. Charna, by the residents of Charna Loka. Muniganai, and by great sages. Upagiyamana, being worshipped. Gandhamadana, on the planet where the Gandhamadana hill is found. Dronim, the border of Abhasayan, illuminating. Upasasarpa, he approached. Translation. As Lord Brahma descended on his carrier, the great swan, all the residents of the planets named Siddhaloka, Gandharvaloka, Sadyaloka, and Charnaloka, as well as great sages and demigods flying in their different airplanes, assembled within the canopy of the sky to receive Lord Brahma and worship him. As he received respect and adoration from the residents of the various planets, Lord Brahma appeared, just like the full moon surrounded by illuminating stars. Lord Brahma's great swan then arrived at the border of Gandhamadana hill and approached Prince Priyavrata, who was sitting there. Purport. It appears from this description that there is regular interplanetary travel between the planets of the demigods. Another significant point is that there is a planet covered mostly by great mountains, one of which is Gandhamadana hill. Three great personalities, Priyavrata, Narada, and Swayambhuva Manu, were sitting on this hill. According to Brahma Samhita, each universe is filled with different planetary systems, and every system has a unique opulence. For example, on Siddhaloka, all the residents are very advanced in the powers of mystic yoga. They can fly from one planet to another without airplanes or other flying machines. Similarly, the residents of Gandharvaloka are expert in musical science, and those on Sadyaloka are all great saints. The interplanetary system undoubtedly exists, and residents of different planets may go from one to another. On this earth, however, we have not invented any machine that can go directly from one planet to another, although an unsuccessful attempt has been made to go directly to the moon. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Sadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So the activities of Maharaj Priyavrata 518, translation repeated. As Lord Brahma descended on his carrier, the great swan, all the residents of the planets named Siddhaloka, Gandharvaloka, Sadyaloka, and Charnaloka, as well as great sages and demigods flying in their different airplanes, assembled within the canopy of the sky to receive Lord Brahma and worship him. As he received respect and adoration from the residents of the various planets, Lord Brahma appeared just like the full moon surrounded by illuminating stars. Lord Brahma's great swan then arrived at the border of Gandhamadana hill and approached Prince Priyavrata, who was sitting there. So who needs mushrooms when you get the Bhagavatam, right? Really? I mean, as I read this, it's just like, wow. I just had to pause and consider things. Then I think it was 1984. There's a Apple, Steve Jobs, Apple Computer, he was considering was trying to do a bold move because he was the underdog at the time. IBM was the champion in computing. And he hesitated on promoting this commercial, which cost an enormous amount of money. I think they did it during Super Bowl time, most expensive time. And so he's got this commercial, and he decided to run it. And it's something like this. You got basically a whole bunch of people with the same gray suits or whatever, acting like zombies and just working away and doing the same old thing every time. And kind of representing IBM. It's kind of, back then, it's kind of there. Anyway, and then there's a gal jogging with colors and vibrant and full of life, and she just sees this, and she throws a hammer at the television set or whatever that was showing this mundane, just boring, same old, and it crashes the thing, and then that goes on the screen. This, I don't forget the year, this 1984 is not going to be like that kind of 1984. And then Macintosh comes on the board, something like that, some sort of Apple computer programming, promotion. So, here I am at Mount Rushmore. Everything's gray there. I don't know why. Everything is totally gray. The buildings are gray in blocks and all the same way. And everything's gray. People seem just to be wearing all gray, cars are all gray. And everybody's in this kind of mode that's not so vibrant, not so enlivening. I sometimes say to workers and they kind of growl at me. Some are nice, and everything, but some kind of growl at you. What's this? What's this hello? Like you say, good morning. What's so good about it? Or whatever the response might be. I'm exaggerating a little bit here, but it's the kind of mood up there. And then they come into the thing, and then they see all this gray, and then the president's up there, and then there's clearly my sign that sticks way out. It's vibrant blue and red and yellow sign with chakras and a nice table with all these different colored books. And they're used to, their religious texts. Probably, at least I've never seen one with pictures in it. Maybe there are some that do have pictures in them, or just, just has a brown or gray cover, says a couple words on there or one word. And you kind of just wonder what's going on. And you see people in this mentality, just, conditioned, and I am the body, I'm going to die. Or at best, they have some religiosity where the philosophy is kind of a little odd. Some of it's atheistic, some of it's impersonal, some of it's philosophy that's really bizarre. And here we have then the Bhagavatam. It's filled with an understanding that God is a person. And this, or like people come up to the table and go, what's this all about, with their framework that I've described, in their minds. And you start, it depends how much fun you want to have, but here in relation with this verse, there's this, it's all about, there's this blue person, he's got a mother Yashoda, lives in topmost planet in the spiritual world. Then he expands himself into Baladev, and then there's another one, and then from Mahavishnu, all the pores come out of the material universes. Then he expands himself again, and in the Garbhodaka ocean in each universe, and he lies in the snake, and with a whole bunch of hoods. And then out of his navel, lotus navel, comes this four-headed person. And we got a small universe because there's lots of universes. So you got like many-headed Brahmas, and then from Brahma creates the universe, and there's these planets like Siddhaloka where people just fly around. They have all these mystical powers. They don't need machines, and you just see either you got one or two types of people there. You got the person that wants the same mundane, dogmatic, just dead, walking zombie world, or you get a person that just goes, wow, how much? You know, I don't really present the books every time like that, but you can see the different mentalities. You know, oftentimes the families are coming by and they completely ignore you, or they just don't know how to handle it, or they don't want you to exist, or they love it. And depending on which category you're in, if you want to be Krishna, you know, the father wants to play Krishna, and you're Radha, and you're my creation, kids, and you're here for my pleasure, right? I'm the supreme, and you know, but the kids, they don't really like this game, so they come running over and they go, I want a book. What's this all about, Daddy? And you can tell the parents are like, don't take the book, no matter what. That'll destroy my fun. So it's like the you know, smashing the computer screen. You know, with the vibrant person. The person wants life. And at some point, somebody comes out. Let's say they're all droned out. You know, hundreds going by, and, go, and then one out of there just goes, well, wait a minute, what's this all about? And they take a whole stack, and they become like a guru type, and just they can't take it anymore. This mundane, dogmatic nonsense, you know. And so the Bhagavatam. So then we see that there's a person behind all of this color and variegatedness and excitement, and filled, like Mother Tsunami said, is one festival after another. You know, it really is. That's where every word is a song and every step is a dance. There's no factories. There's no this mundane mentality of I'm gonna die. I'm gonna die. I remember when I was 16 or something like this. I'm gonna die. Well, let me just get numbed out as much as possible so that I don't experience this pain. You know, that was my only understanding, because I didn't have the Bhagavatam. Because I didn't have the Bhagavatam, I didn't have an understanding. Well, let me just numb out. Okay, start taking these kind of things to numb out, and do these kind of activities to numb out. And might as well get as much pleasure out of it as I can before I die. And then it's all finished. Now, what boring, awful, and that's really the root of all this. Or you get some understanding of God, but it's so convoluted and so misunderstood that there's so much confusion that they can't really function, you know? Or it's impersonal. The same, you know, imagine going into a building where there's just all white everywhere. Everything's white. Everybody's sitting there just going, or it's static on a movie. You go to the movie and it's just static, gray static. It's like the impersonal concept of that's your, you know, all gray then okay, make it all gray and no personality, no just dead, dull, zone out, you know, that's it. But here we see the Bhagavatam is the hero of heroes. This is getting us out of that world and letting us see the real world, the world where we're dealing with a person. And this person is phenomenal. Unlimited. I mean, you can't even understand, you can't really understand this person in a sense, because he's beyond our comprehension. But we can, by his mercy, get understanding of him. And he's got a personality. He likes things, he doesn't like things, and he loves to have a lot of fun. And he's always joking around and always having a good time, really beyond good time. Anybody gets to spend time with him has a great time. So much of a great time that you even like Priyavrata had such a great time getting trained up by Narada Muni, who's like having the ultimate time all the time, the traveling spaceman. And he wants everybody to know about how you all can know this person who's always having a great time and have the greatest time forever, so that you don't have to live this boring, mundane, miserable life of I'm gonna die. Yeah? And, these people that I spend time with at Mount Rushmore, they work 50 hours a week. And what do they do in their 2 weekends or weeks? What do? They go and they spend a lot of money and they kill things. That's it. They just go and they kill animals and fish. That's all they do. That's it. And they take intoxicants. That's one heck of miserable existence. I mean, that's severely miserable. So there's an indication that these people don't have the Bhagavatam, right? Because if you tune into the Bhagavatam, as Prabhupada says, nothing gives the soul more ecstasy than hearing Krishna's pastimes. So that is the highest high. We read Bhagavatam. Bhishma Dev is saying that, right? Hearing about Krishna's pastimes, that's where it's at. I mean, you go on and on. Maybe mention some more. Prithu, Shukadev, they're all stating that hearing Krishna's pastimes is where it's at. Now, these are the greatest beings. So why not give it a try? Give it a try, and we go, whoa, this is a whole different ballgame. I was at Grand Canyon Distributing Books table. Some gal comes up, and she was having a little bit of challenge, being a little agitated or something, and she, as I was describing the Krishna book, saying, this is considered the best part of the greatest book in the universe. And the spiritual masters say it gives you the greatest ecstasy. And she saw a picture in it. She thought it was something different. She basically indicated that she had sex on her mind, basically. That's how she heard it and how she saw the picture. And then, some joking comment like, it sounds like you might have something on your mind, like that. And she kind of giggled and laughed. And then I mentioned, I've been celibate for 30 years. And she couldn't fathom the concept. And I said, yes, these books give you something better than sex. And she was like, it's just a whole new world. It's like, the Macintosh movie in the commercial. It's like something completely different now we're going to see and we're going to experience, something that you can't even imagine. It's something way beyond. And that's the Bhagavatam. That's Krishna. All we have to do is come in contact with Krishna, and we immediately experience this, immediately, with the food, with the holy name, with the chanting, and then, see, we don't have to be the same old, and that's the beauty of the Brahmana culture that Krishna is all about, protecting cows and Brahminical culture. So Brahmanas, they're thinkers. They don't go with the status quo. They don't go with the masses the way they think. They go, okay, I'm going to be an individual thinking person. So they become the trendsetters. They start new trends. They become the spiritual masters. They master the art of tapping into this plane of existence that is unlimited, ever increasingly more blissful, not mundane at all, ever. And they promote it, basically. So the thinking types become the trendsetters. So we can start a prasadam restaurant. We can go out and sing and dance the holy name on the street corners. I mean, when we first started all that, right, way in the day, before my time here, it was so far out that they just put them in jail. I mean, that's the tendency. Get this guy out of here. They just made this new law in Texas that you can't distribute books in the colleges if you're an outside group. I'm like, wow, okay. That's probably not going to last very long since it's unconstitutional. But, who knows? I mean, we all read about what's going to happen with Kali Yuga as it progresses, So it's important that we protect our own, we protect Brahminical culture and cows. And this way we can, continuously tap into this non-mundane plane. Not the death plane, but the alive plane. You know, the real plane, not the fake plane. Otherwise, you know, it's really, well, Prabhupada makes a comment about the unsuccessful attempt made to go to the moon here. So that's a little bit of a controversial discussion, quite a bit. And some devotees really think that there's a, you know, it's this way, and others vehemently say it's just the opposite. So I'm not going to get into all that, especially since I had a degree in earth science over there at the University of Arizona. So I studied astronomy and structure of things and so forth and so on, physics and all the rest. So Prabhupada, though, is a thinker. He's questioning it, at the very least. He's questioning it. So questioning is a good thing. Skepticism is a sign of intelligence. You know, I'm not going to say this or that. Some may say that, no, we never went to that moon that we see, and others say, well, we definitely went to that moon that we see. We got, you know, lasers, you can just get, you know, prove that they put, you know, reflectors up there and so forth and so on. I mean, they plan on maybe putting data centers up there now. Anyway, or that moon is not, they didn't experience the moon as the moon really is, just like, you know, Ravana took Sita. But did he take Sita? No, he took the illusory form of Sita. So are we going to experience things as they are, or as, due to our perverted desires, are we going to experience things pervertedly? So the beautiful part about all this is that the real thing is the best thing, is the most blissful thing. And the non-real thing is boring and mundane and miserable. So again, Krishna being the supreme being, and you can just imagine, like, imagine just for a second being on Goloka Vrindavan, how that would be like. You know, you have Kalpa Vriksha trees there, you know, you have Sarabi cows, everybody's blissful. There's no mundane consciousness. There's no bad day. I mean, sometimes I guess Kamsa might do this or that or whatever. They have things there too. I don't know. They have events that seem like calamities. Some still up there, like Kalia or whatever. But it's not the same as here in this plane. So it's all bliss. So we can, there's no difference between devotional service to Krishna and the kingdom of God. So anytime we consciously connect or unconsciously connect, we make great benefit, but consciously connect. So what we do want to do with Krishna's service, connecting Krishna's service, then we become really blissful. Just as Maharaj Priyavrata, you know, he doesn't want the position of king of the universe, or at least of some planetary systems. I don't know which, at least of Earth, for bare minimum, or whatever planet they're on. So he doesn't want to be the king and have all this amazing opulence at his disposal, as many wives as he wants. He can have anything he wants, and everybody can. He's the ruler of everybody. Every manager probably wouldn't mind just anything you say gets done, and nobody complains. Wouldn't that be far out? And you can just do whatever you want, whenever you want. Be the controller of the, you know. I mean, but he doesn't want that. He actually is trying to avoid that because he's getting so much more out of just hearing and chanting about Krishna. It's better. It's a better way to go. This is really profound, what's going on here. I mean, he's passing it all up. Like Giriraj Maharaj passing up $1 million. Parents say, I'll give you $1 million if you leave this movement. No, he passes it up. You know, all these great beings are saying, no, I've got something better than what material life has to offer. And it's never mundane. And if we ever think it, we ever have that kind of consciousness, like, oh no, morning program, or oh, I got to chant another round. We should just check it, and go, okay, what am I doing? Does this add up? Does this make sense? No, it doesn't. Okay, let that kind of thinking go. You know, here's this devotee. Devotees are not ordinary beings, right? So the more we get to know Krishna, the more we are who we are, and being who we are is so uniquely amazing. Krishna definitely is not a cookie cutter type person. Okay, make them all the same and they all act the same. No, devotees are completely different. We have completely different backgrounds, different stories of how we join Krishna consciousness and so forth and so on. So each devotee is like unlimited as well in a sense, because they tapped into the unlimited world, especially if they're, a Narayana Parayana, one who just is pure devotee of Krishna. There's so many, 33 million demigods, but rarely is there a Narayana Parayana, one who is fully surrendered to Krishna and just only wants Krishna's service. That's it. No material desires. The Bhagavad Gita says, abandon all material desires, and just, engage in my service. So that's the teachings. So if one who is applying that is in a sense a Narayana Parayana. And it's so rare, even throughout these different planets. There's all these Siddha Lokas, Gandharva Loka planets, and Sadhya Lokas, and Charna Lokas, all these amazing beings. It's hard to find one Narayana Parayana. And here Prabhupada, the Narayana Parayana, comes in talking about a trendsetter, talking about a thinker, talking about a person smashing that mundane thing completely to the shreds. I mean, he's coming in and making society that makes Narayana Parayanas. They go to the topmost planet in the spiritual world, right here on Earth, in the middle of Kali Yuga. And he's got a Rath Yatra going right down Fifth Avenue, New York City, which is considered the greatest city of the world at the time. We're talking, wow. This is not mundane. This is not boring, and devotees know it, and they love it. And it's something beyond this world of complete boredom. I really remember clearly, exactly, in the U of A, going to school, and I had my pencils. I had a pencil, and I was literally stabbing myself in the leg to stay awake during class. I was so bored, so miserable. It's like, how am I going to get through this? How am I going to continue on? So fortunately, got in touch with Prabhupada's books, and I'm almost finished with my master's. Make a lot of money, and I just couldn't take it anymore. I read Prabhupada's books. I'm almost done with my thesis. I mean, that's all I have to do is in two more classes. Finally, 7.5 years of studies, almost done. I got my whatever degree, and then I was working on my master's. And I just took all those books, threw them in that trash can right there. All of them, just threw in the trash can, didn't go back, and just went, I'm just going to distribute these books. I just can't take this anymore. I'm just sick and tired of going against the grain of my heart. I'm going to go in the grain of my heart. And somebody asked me just yesterday, the day before, ASU, said, how do you support yourself? How do you survive and everything? It says, you know what? Before I was always worried about maintaining my body and so forth and so on. And by doing that, I was always worried about money. And then 30 years ago, I decided to give up that world and just follow my heart. And ever since, I've never had to worry about money. I've never, ever, and Prabhupada says, if you just focus on this one activity, book distribution, you never have to worry about Lakshmi. It's true. You follow your heart, you don't have to worry about Lakshmi. Follow our heart, which means go for Krishna, our real love. Then, Radharani and Lakshmi there, she just goes, okay, he's cool. Let me support him. So he can continue to love Krishna. That makes sense. That's reality. That makes sense. That's just functioning. The rest is a dysfunctional world. An insane, dysfunctioning existence. It's not worth pursuing. Yeah, better to be sane and functional. So devotees are functional. And the Narayana Parayana ones, my goodness, so rare. Here you have all these beings, but they still have material desires. Maybe there's a few in there that don't, but not many. Only a few. Out of thousands among men, one may endeavor for perfection. Out of those who achieve perfection, hardly one knows me in truth. Yeah, Bhakti Yoga in the entire universe, purely presented as Prabhupada presented it and practicing is rare. So we are extremely fortunate. And all we have to do is just, what do we have to do? Take the best prasadam in Tucson for sure, the best food in Tucson, associate with the best people in Tucson, sing the most wonderful, best songs in Tucson, right? I mean, what else is there to do? Yeah, and we have some service. That's the best service in Tucson. And all we have to do is continue to do that. Sounds really rough, huh? And then you get the full mercy of God, the full-on mercy. And then I remember distributing books for like 6 months straight, just having so much fun. Books are flying out. And then I realized, oh my God, I'm going back home to Godhead. I was thinking I'm doing this because I love doing this, and I would do anything other than this. You know, I could go do many different things, but I was doing this because I love this the most. And then I realized, oh my God, I'm going back home to Godhead too. Wow, what a perk that's involved with it. So, man, this is the beautiful thing of Krishna, who's taking advantage of the most beautiful person, Krishna, and what he has to offer, the way he is. Then we are more who we are, which is also beautiful and wonderful. Our real nature is blissful. We're full of knowledge and eternal. We're actually all amazing beings. And the more we just do this, the more that is exhibited. And it just becomes funner and more blissful every moment of every day. So, no worries. Even old age even. It's not like it's described in the books when you have material consciousness, like the elephant in the back of the room, you know, ready to stampede you to death, you know, coming in anymore. Even devotees are like, yeah, we get off that plane. Yeah, Krishna takes care of everything. Everything. Yeah. Anyway, I'll stop there. Any comments or questions? Oh, I just want to mention one more thing, because Prabhupada said we should stress book distribution must be given stress always. So we see not everywhere is a place filled with vibrant colors, smiling faces, what Prabhupada said, moon-like people, whatever, swan-like individuals, and chanting and dancing, and ecstasy. And so we see that they haven't been exposed that much to the Bhagavatam. So this Bhagavatam, perfect and expert, non-different from Krishna, you know, we come in contact with it, and but we can now, the entire Bhagavatam is also says it's every single sentence says, please distribute me. Please distribute me. Because the Bhagavatam wants to go everywhere, wants to go in every single house, to every single person. And so that people can experience this other world, this other dimension. It's different from the mundane death world and all that goes along with that kind of consciousness. And the more we distribute it, the more we see things becoming more colorful, more personal, more loving, more peaceful, more everything that Krishna is all about. More intelligent, they make more intelligent decisions. So automatically, Brahminical culture advances greatly when we distribute Prabhupada's books. So I'll stop there. Any comments or questions? Yes.
So I have a comment and a question. My comment is I also have experienced the phenomenon about like when I was so concerned about how am I going to support myself, you know, I was really struggling, and it was really difficult. When I finally let go and said, you know what, I'm just not going to worry about it. I'm actually taking care more now than I was when I was trying so hard.
Yeah.
And so that's something I've experienced. And then my question is, we see the way that Kali Yuga is going, where people really seem to have this kind of aversion to anything that has to do with God, right? Sometimes people are aggressive too about their dislike of anything to do with God. And so there's there's the possibility that we wouldn't be able to go on and distribute books in the future, for either because people say no religion at all on the campus, or the other side of the coin, which is only Christian stuff, right? And so is there anything that we can do to try to slow that down from happening, or do we just kind of keep going on?
Yeah, I'm sure there are many things we could do. That is one thing that maybe somebody will take up more and more in the future. Maybe they do someplace in the world, is politics. You might even be able to get the Bhagavatam in the school system in kindergarten. Actually, it's possible if it's petitioned properly and everything, and people go through those hoops that's needed to change things politically within the government programs. So, I mean, that's something to consider. I mean, I'm sure Prabhupada would like to see Krishna conscious nations. There could be some major stuff if Krishna desires and devotees get organized. Some major shifts. And maybe that's coming. I don't know. We see more and more people joining, and many have many abilities and funds and so forth and so on. So who knows how this is going to go? As far as me practically doing anything, other than, I'm not going to probably do much in my lifetime, probably on all that. But certainly there are options. Yeah.
I just thought of the devotees, like in Russia, and how that wasn't a very open place, but still they, through their dedication, they were able to open that up. So I guess if I just remember that, then
that's the beautiful part about all this, is since we're all part and parcel of Krishna, and Krishna is not the suppressing agent, death, just mundane person. It's in us to go for the Bhagavatam and to be like the Bhagavatam. So in that sense, there probably will always be people here and there. But, as it's predicted in Kali Yuga way down the road, it looks pretty grim. But then it gets nice again, right? When they smell the fragrance of Kalki, they go, wow. And then then people's minds change. So as long as there's people promoting Krishna consciousness, there's going to be some good stuff out of that, obviously. And so it's our duty, whatever degree we want to take it to. That's our free will. Yeah. But maybe someday we could get super organized in that regard and do something seriously profound. That's always an option. Yes, Prabhu.
Question. Comment is that I also had this realization about money, because I was, someone asked me like, oh, you go to India twice a year sometimes, and you're doing all these things and traveling here and there. And it's like, I have no idea where the money's coming from, and I've had experiences where, I prayed to Radha Madhava. I want to go learn the Bhagavatam in Mayapur. $1,000 within like a month of that prayer, just by random people. Oh, here's $200. And I've seen it happen. So I stopped caring about money. What I realized was that money is a result of your act result of the action you're taking. And the laws of nature are that if you do so much action, you're going to get action. People get money, or they also get. Say, I'm going to do so much action in the service of Krishna. I'm going to put my. Krishna has to provide facility for. He has to. He's not that he doesn't have to do anything, but he wants you to do the service. He's asking you to do the service. Why would he not provide you all facility to do it? And so the more we have a service mentality, I mean, Prabhupada came here with $8 and he opened so much temple. Wow. It's literally the action we take in the service of Krishna has its proper result. And, we hear about Shyamasundar Malati walking down the road and $100 bills were falling, from the sky. And so, it doesn't. We shouldn't stress about money. That's a big illusion. And whether even grihastas, it's like, there's a whole famous story of Srivas Thakur. Lord Chaitanya took sannyas. Lord Chaitanya came back to West Bengal after he'd taken sannyas, and he went into Srivas Thakur's house and he said, Srivas, all you do is chant all day long, and you have all these kids and you have this wife. How do you make money? And Srivas Thakur said, I just clap my hands 3 times, and if it doesn't drown myself in the Ganges, So we don't have to think in that way. Question is speaking of this desire to serve Krishna, and you've spoken very nicely and inspirational way about how there's this mundane life we can live, and then when we take up Krishna service, it's just so beautiful, and we all experience that. We experience amazing. Simultaneously, sometimes our samskaras from the past and the material world and anarthas, they just feel like they're choking us, and like we're being sucked, pulled between 2 worlds, and it can be very difficult, sometimes miserable. How do we fully jump into this kind of spiritual dimension?
Well, I think it's important to Bhaktivinoda Thakur, I think it's in Jaiva Dharma book. He says spiritual life really takes off when we get in the mood of forevermore. I'm going to do this no matter what, forevermore. Then the magic really happens. Until then, I remember a devotee explaining to me that he said to Krishna when he was like 18, he joined the movement. He said, I'm going to give you my youth. I'll give you my youth. Really, this is a great opulence. I'm going to give it to you, Krishna. And he did amazing things. And then when he reached a certain age, all the went away. He's like, what's going on? And it took him a while, like years time went by, and he realized, I told him I would just give my youth. So then he realized, I'll give you everything then. I'm all forevermore. And then the potency comes back. So give Krishna, make it forevermore, no matter what. No matter what, forevermore, 100% sold out. Regularly chant, what Mahaprabhu chanted, my only prayer is to remain a pure devotee at your lotus feet, birth after birth. Chant, make that prayer at least 2 times a day. Krishna hears it, you're saying it. And anything that's in your body that's reserved the root of that will get removed. You literally get rid of the root of whatever is holding you back will get removed. And once that root's out, or maybe it'll try to come back, maybe it'll try to replant. But when you're making the prayer twice a day, and you're constantly in that, making sure it's kind of like attentive japa. If you're doing your japa, but then you're thinking, at some point I can give up my japa. But then your japa doesn't really take real root, But if you're going to do japa, then you have a thought like, whatever it might be. Good, I'm almost done with my japa. Catch it in the bud. That's inattentive chanting. Can we be delivered by inattentive chanting? I mean, whatever. We want to just constantly nip that thought in the bud immediately. So then you get rid of the root of the problem. Yeah, and then you just go in full speed ahead. So catching that, making the active decision to uproot the root of all that. Always. Never letting it take hold. Then you're okay. Then it's just like instead of something that really controls you, it becomes just like a distant noise, less and less and less. Till it's gone completely. Is that all right?
Yeah.
But yeah, forevermore, that's essential. No matter what, essential, forevermore. Any other comments or questions? Because without that, what's the magic, you know? It's not the same magic. It's not like, wow. And actually it states that that's when Krishna reveals himself. And the words used in one point is obliged to reveal himself to you. Because you're taking full shelter of Krishna. So he's obliged, and that's when we so-called purchase Krishna. He's obliged to make sure you're always blissed out. Right? I mean, taking full shelter. If somebody takes full shelter of you, you're going to make sure that person has a good time. Right? And if you're God, my God, you're going to give that person a great time. Right? Okay. Yeah.
I know he feels obliged to the gopis.
Yeah. Obliged to the gopis. Can you share more on that?
Well, because they fully surrendered, they loved him, you know, and so he said, I could never repay you. Yeah. So it seems like that's obliged, right?
Yeah. It's good. It's a good analogy, a good example. Thank you. Yeah.
As a pastime, I heard recently Krishna was celebrating his birthday. Mother Yashoda was working all day, cooking the greatest things, and she was having, all the residents of Vrindavan, the adult residents of Vrindavan, they were having amazing, opulent jewelry and gold and various nice things for Krishna. They were bringing in presents, they were importing things from all over the world to present Krishna on Janmashtami. And the cowherd boys, they were humble people. They couldn't really give Krishna anything, but they wanted to give Krishna something. So one of the cowherd boys gave Krishna some tilak mixed with dung, cow dung. And it is described that Krishna, he was so happy, he started to cry when he received this tilak. And he said all the cowherd boys were giving him these very simple things, very simple things. And he started giving the cowherd boys all this gold and all these beautiful pieces of jewelry that Mother Yashoda and Nanda Maharaj. And he was thinking, this isn't enough to repay this tilak. Yeah. And so then Krishna said, the only thing I can give you is me. So then he came and embraced the cowherd boys. So, Krishna is so obliged to any bit of love and devotion we give him.
What is that? Vipra Shudam in Krishna book? Is that his name? Shudam Vipra? Shudama. Yeah. He gave everything, right? He didn't have anything. Borrow something to give to Krishna, right? Something of that nature. He gave everything. Yeah. Right. So Krishna's obliged to. Okay, well, I got to do something more than that. I give more than everything. So, yeah, he gave him an incredible place to live and so forth. Yeah. But he's always reciprocating. Yeah. As those who surrender unto me, I reward them accordingly. So if we give everything to Krishna, you get Krishna. Krishna is everything. Can't lose there. You can go for a part of Krishna, Krishna's energy, or Krishna. Just like Duryodhana or Dhritarashtra. He went for Krishna's army. But Arjuna went for Krishna. Who wins? Always go for Krishna and you win. Which equates to devotional service to Krishna. Forevermore. It's in our highest interest to go forevermore. It's really amazing when you go to that forevermore mode. Well, you actually see the demons, you know, they flee. You go, wow, I had that in me for how many lifetimes? Whoa, he's gone. Good job. Okay. Yeah. Wonderful. 5 more minutes, or we could take Prashadam either way. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Go Premanandi, Hari Hari Bol. Thank you again for allowing me to be here and have you all